Welcome to Loose Lips, the oral tradition, the show where two unhinged storytellers attempt human connection in this batshit crazy world.
I'm Adrienne Marquand.
I'm Alexandra Dean Grossi.
Today we're chatting with someone way too
Lovely.
to stay under the radar.
Juliet Perrell. Whether it's starring in one of our future hit television shows or their deep thoughts on Julie Andrews, they bring the kind of encouraging energy we love around here.
So grab your
Pinot.
get cozy, and let's get to know
Juliet Perrell.
Because trust us, you'll want to.
Usually my go-to fact is that I'm deaf.
I was gonna say that's like the obvious one.
Given that part away. I am surprisingly a very good tennis player. For someone who's very uncoordinated and clumsy in life, I have extremely good hand-eye coordination.
Has that translated to any other sport, or tennis is just where your heart is, or
Well, it's where my heart is, but like softball, I was amazing at. Ping pong, very good at. Like the catching balls sports, I'm very good at.
Very cool.
that I'm not it doesn't surprise me in the sense of like I would have assumed otherwise, but it surprises me just in the sense of I already knew you loved tennis, but just I'm it's a fun thing to learn about you.
I think because people know me as like such a like a theater kid and they don't expect me to be sporty, but I love sport.
Yeah.
I follow sport.
Who's your favorite tennis player of all time?
Well, it's changed because the old guard is now retiring but right now I'm loving Coco Gauff, obviously. She's incredible. And Yannick Sinner, he's Italian, but from like the German part of Italy, so he looks super German.
Oh, interesting.
But he reminds me a lot of Roger Federer, who was like my OG favorite. So, like very like a great sportsman and just like doesn't lose his temper and just so good. Because I have like high stakes regrets. So
You can share those too if you want,
no, I think yours is more challenging.
Yeah.
I'll start with the high stakes regret and then maybe I'll think of a lower stakes. Maybe you can give me some examples. The high stakes regret I do have is not getting my second implant sooner. Because I got it when I was 17 years old. And then I had like one implant I got it when I was 6 years old. So I was like 13 years with one. And now having two, when I have one, I'm like, how the heck did I do that?
And is that common? Is it rare for people to do two at a time?
Now it's more commonplace. It was for a long time, it was an insurance mandated thing that made it, and they didn't have enough data at the time to support that two are better than one, but duh, two are better than one.
I don't know if you had this experience, Alex, but I got my right one implanted first, and my right one was overcompensating for the left one. So I was getting a lot of like facial stim. Which I regarded as normal because it was like meaning that I was like hearing more, but it was slightly uncomfortable for me.
Okay.
So I hear way better out of my right side than my left side.
What's the sound for you, Juliet, that you're just like, absolutely not?
Motorcycles. But I think a lot of people can relate to that.
What I find shocking is when it's unpredictable sound. Like, especially like a little thing like crinkling paper. When I first started getting used to it, it's like, what are you doing to me? Like water rushing. There's nothing nice about water fountains. It sounds horrible, like the ocean waves. I know everybody romanticizes it, but for me, it was like, oh God, please turn that off. Just such a personal experience because every year is built differently. Every program is different. We have different models. So it's just, there's definitely no one size fits all experience here.
I remember when I got my left one, I really had to work to translate different sounds. Like I had to work to translate like the dog barking versus the door closing. Like my brain had to relearn how to distinguish different sounds. So that's why sometimes when I see those videos of babies like getting implants turned on, I'm like,
It's so unfair.
it's
I
not
know,
like I can hear. It's
I
like
know, it's so misleading because it's work. I want people to know that it is freaking work to
it's
like
so
get
much
to the,
work. Yeah.
yes.
Well, and I'm so
And
curious,
yes, it's,
Juliet, you said your right ear is you still hear better. And is that this is like a dumb, I'm not a science kid question. Is left ear more left brain and right ear more right brain? And does it hear better because it's had 13 more years of training? And so the this brain, this side of your brain just doesn't have the same neural pathways and education that this side does?
No, that's it. That's
That's
exactly right.
so
what,
I
fascinating.
think it's
yeah.
the right goes to the left side actually. And the
Oh,
left,
interesting. Okay.
it like goes side is the left to right is like where music is housed and
Oh,
like
interesting.
that part of my brain. So I was never I didn't develop those like neural pathways for like singing and being able to like distinguish pitch as well as I
Oh,
do for language because that side was in the dark for so long. So I wonder like if I had been implanted earlier, if I would have had like more of an input at an earlier age,
I
of
mean, I
music.
don't have, I mean, I know if it's something's very high or very low, but
Right.
like between notes, boo. Yeah, I got nothing.
It's okay. You married a musician. He can
It's
coach.
fine.
So for my college showcase, I picked like a scene that I wish I picked a funnier scene. Because like comedy sells, right? Maybe this is a hot take, but I think drama is better reserved for like going to see a play because what lands those dramatic moments is the moments of comedy. So it like hits you when you're like not thinking about it. And
Mhm.
people are just more receptive to being moved if they're laughing. I think I was so like desperate to get like the perfect one that would like move people to tears that
I think
I
that's very college.
I think people are
Oh,
more
that's,
receptive to
yeah.
comedy.
I agree.
That's a great one, though. That's a great one.
But Meryl Streep and Martin Short are a great one. Because at first I was like, "Ugh," and then I was like, "Huh."
Huh.
And then I saw like photos of them and I'm like, "They look really happy." And I was just like, for someone two people who are older and I know Martin Short is a widower and it's just so lovely that they found
I
love. I
agree.
like
Yes, I have spent many, many minutes thinking about them and just being like, oh, it's just so nice.
one of the many like happy moments I remember is actually when I received the phone call that Echo was paired with me.
Ah,
I knew it. I knew that's where you were gonna go. I knew it was gonna have something to do with her.
The dog, yeah, always. Because I was originally matched with another dog. The organization Dogs for Better Lives is based in Oregon. And that was like in December. And then a couple weeks went by and they called me and they said, because I live in New York City, the dog wasn't going to be the best fit for like the urban lifestyle. And I remember her saying distinctly that there's this dog, she's a big girl named Echo. And she's a black lab golden retriever mix who loves to play and loves to snuggle and puppy raised in Seattle, so she was so used to being in like an urban environment. And then she came into my life and is like the best thing to ever happen to me. I tell her that every day. It's so much pressure to put on her, but it's
But it's true.
It's true. I just love her so much, and she helps me so much, and the joy of having this creature in my life, you know.
What was sort of a first, like, the first moment after having her where it was like, oh, I needed this.
I was actually incredibly anxious when I first got her because it was just like, oh my God, the responsibility of caring for this like this being was so great, and like I had recently lost like my childhood dog, and like the pain of losing that dog was so monstrous. And I was like, I'm gonna have to go through it again with her. And I just felt like immense anxiety from that. But then I remember it was the second night she was with me, and she gave what I call her signature echo hug, where she like will like jump up on my shoulders and like push me down to the floor and like just like lay on top of me. And she just like snuggled, like she knew because I was like crying or whatever, and she knew I needed it. And I was like, no, this is it. This is my girl. And from then on, the pain started to ease, and we were able to just like coexist in life together.
Thing.
I know.
Can you
I
just
had
really quickly like explain what, like, how you were paired with Echo in case people don't know your
Oh
story?
yeah, yeah, of course. So Echo is my home hearing dog. So I began the process of looking for, because I live alone. So I was starting to get anxious about, when I take my cochlear implants off, I don't hear anything. If there was a burglar, if the smoke alarm was going off, the carbon monoxide, or even like a package was being delivered and I missed it. And it was a long, long road. I tried a lot of different organizations, and COVID was kind of happening, so a lot of them weren't pairing dogs. And I was on the wait list with one organization forever, and then I found Dogs for Better Lives, and the whole process took maybe like 6 months. It was the most like fortuitous experience. But essentially, she is trained to alert me to sounds. Like I call her like my second pair of ears. So she's trained to alert me to sounds, like the doorbell ringing or the door knock or the fire alarm going off for when I don't have my cochlear implants on. She also is trained to alert me to my name if someone's calling me, or she just like boops me and I give her a treat. She provides such a sense of ease for me at home, and knowing that I'm safe and secure with her.
That's
So.
amazing.
So I was working at a theater, and there was opening of a show happening, and I was the assistant house manager, and there were two lines for one was for VIP for the celebrities, and one was for like just people who had bought tickets to see the show. And I
That's
was manning the line for not the VIP line, because the VIP you had to go get your photo taken. Um, and this was when we required Vax card and ID for the beginning of COVID. So everyone had to show that they got like the Pfizer shot and their like driver's license or whatever. And then all of a sudden, this woman comes up and she's wearing glasses and she's got that famous signature bob. And I'm like, oh my God. Like I saw her from like distance. I was like, she's not coming this way. She's gonna go around and go to the other line. No, no, she didn't want her photo taken. So she came through like the normie line, and the ticket taker asked for her Vax card, and she had it on her phone and she showed it. And then she said, "Oh, can I see your ID?" And she went, "My ID?" And the ticket taker was like, "Yeah, like we need to see like an ID with the Vax card so we can prove like you're like the same person, you're not impersonating someone else." And she like looked around and like stomped her foot. And then all of a sudden I see the camera flashing and I'm like, "What's happening?" And she's like, "Don't you know who I am?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay. It's okay. Just let her through. Let her through." The ticket taker did not know it was Anna Wintour. And we were so close to having like a Devil Wears Prada moment where she, blew her lid and cursed us all out. So,
That you saved the day.
yeah, and I somehow made page 6 as the publicist, which I consider a job promotion.
I love
I think
this.
that makes me Anne Hathaway. Oh, maybe Emily Blunt because I'm the like I like,
Yeah, because
you
I was
know.
like the ticket taker,
Yeah.
like early movie Anne Hathaway, who just
Yes.
didn't know anything, like,
She
didn't
was
know who
like, I
Juliet
didn't
was.
know who that was. I was like, Vogue? She's like, no.
How
I
do
was
you
like,
live in New York City and not know who? Well, no, I shouldn't say that because you don't know what you don't
I
know.
know, I know. Some people, I'm
But
sure
also,
if you
you got
said
to look like good.
some person that, you know, was in the stock market, I wouldn't know who they were, right? I don't know, you know. So
Maybe.
that's some crazy story. And I can't wait for the day that I get sat next to her at a fashion show.
Yes, it's gonna happen.
Oh, this has been so much fun, and I'm so glad you were open to doing this with us, Juliet.
Oh my
And
God, thank you for
we're obsessed
inviting
with
me
you.
to do this. I'm so thrilled and I love you guys so much.
We love
I'm
you.
very happy to be in your orbit.